We have 19 skill points and we've only used 5 of them. Look at this. What the
Yeah.
Guys! Why is Miyaki the one who didn't hold out? Hey guys, Triforce of Doom here.
And Drake Razorfang.
It's time for trial number 3.
Oh boy.
Yeah, it's an interesting one so far. Let's see how you do. We only have our 2 skills.
Mm-hmm.
Steadier aim and what's Melodious voice again?
Explanation of the class trial. So
I think
your
something
votes
about
will
the
determine the results.
rhythm portion.
Might be.
If you can figure out who done it, then only they will receive punishment. But if you pick the wrong one...
I legit wonder for these lines if they just use the same take every time or not.
Yeah.
Then I'll punish everyone besides the blackened, and the one that deceived everyone else will graduate.
Because, you know, obviously there are trials where they interrupt his speech.
Mm-hmm.
Now then, to begin with...
We already know who did it.
Was that?
The hero. He does not have an alibi for when the murders took place, and we found him in that suit. Don't try and deny it. You killed them.
I didn't. Someone knocked me out. I was asleep the whole time. I don't know anything about it.
Shut your murdering mouth, murderer!
Who are you calling a murderer?
I am sorry to say, hero, but we do have evidence. Blueprint for the suit. Parts we assume were used to build it, and all of it was found in your room. You have to admit, the evidence is quite compelling. It points to you as having created the suit and wearing it while committing crime after crime.
How many times do I have to tell you? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
And our first BTB. Let's go.
Everything we found in your room.
That's...
The blueprints, the suit parts...
I want to say it's
they are
square or
all
triangle.
good enough.
Yep, there we are. Yeah, okay, so that's our clue right now.
Right, so...
You are the culprit.
I don't know anything about that stuff. It's not true. It's a conspiracy.
Hero, why? Why did you kill them?
No, just hold
I
on a
remembered it.
second.
It is triangle fire X for white noise.
Yeah.
Just figure I'd give a refresher because it has been a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Everything we found in your room. The blueprints, the suit parts, they are all...
Oh, nice shot. I legit thought you were going to nick the white noise.
So did I.
But don't forget, breaking white noise does give you a few
Hero
seconds.
really made those blueprints?
Is it R1 to slow things down?
Yes.
Okay.
It's either that or L1, one of the two.
Mm-hmm.
Well, take a look at this. It's the note that Hero wrote, asking everyone to meet up after Alter Ego.
I'm not too surprised, but I still find it fucking awesome that you got, like, all the do the trial perfectly achievements on the first one.
Mm-hmm.
The handwriting's obviously different, wouldn't you say?
I was fully expecting the rhythm game to at least fuck you up.
Yeah.
There's no way you could think the same person made both of them.
Unless that person made it a point to disguise their handwriting.
No, the differences are bigger than that, I think.
Come on. I'm not smart enough to think of trying to change my handwriting anyway.
He's not wrong.
Yeah, he's not wrong.
So Makoto, are you saying you don't think Hero's the culprit?
And he's not the only one. I think Hero's innocent as well.
What?
Yeah, not surprised there.
Then who was in that Robo-Justice suit?
Oh, it was Hero. It was absolutely Hero in the suit.
Yeah.
Is it like Hero said? Was there really someone running around in a second suit?
The suspicious individual hidden within the suit. Go ahead, Makoto. Tell them who it was.
Oh, God. And of course he passes it off to me.
Yeah,
My exact reaction
Yeah,
is like,
for some reason with some of the camera pans, the sprites definitely have some anti-aliasing problems on them, but I think that just has to do with the way they were ported.
So, Who
Oh
was
well.
in the robo
This is only the character sprites, like not the backgrounds, just the sprites.
Yeah. Illuminati. It had to be Hero.
Yep.
Other than Hero, I can't think of anyone else it could have been. Obviously, he
Oh, I know
was
if it's
the
also
one
about on the
with
backgrounds. I think,
particular
yeah, I just,
suit.
overall you can tell this,
Never
some of this
found
was
any
still
kind
meant
of
for the Vita PSP resolution.
Mm-hmm.
Just something to deal
There
with.
can be no doubt. Hero is the prime suspect.
That doesn't make any sense. You just said Hero didn't do it.
It makes perfect sense. Hero was the suspicious individual in the suit, but he's not the culprit.
So what you're saying is...
That's right. The culprit in this case has nothing to do with being in the Robo-Justice suit.
What? Now
It was red herring!
Yep.
And what reason do you have?
Bet
to
some of
make
y'all
such
weren't
statements?
expecting that
You do
classic
have a reason,
reference.
Of course. But before we get to that, there's something else we need to clarify first. So let's get that out of the way.
Hey, stop trying to boss us around.
All things have a proper order.
So what is it? What needs to be clarified?
We must clarify the method of transportation for Taka's lifeless body.
And we know that one.
It would
Yeah.
seem that his corpse was moved using certain particular items. Makoto, can you tell us what they were?
Yeah, I believe you can do these in any order, pretty much. So, as long as you get both things.
Just making sure I check everything.
Makes sense. Never hurts to double check your doubts.
Yeah.
They were a dolly and a tarp, right?
Because, yeah, those choice ones give you more than enough time.
Yeah. Did you expect me to screw up, Byakuya? What's the attitude?
I fucking love that Makoto sprite.
So, let's see if I can explain. Taka's body disappeared from the equipment room. And then we rediscovered it in the repository. And when we found it for the second time, it was wrapped in a blue tarp, right? It was the same tarp that up until then was stored
Okay,
in
so
the
it does
equipment
point that
room.
out. He just didn't think about it during the investigation.
Yeah.
So the killer must have seen it there and decided to use it when they moved Taka's body. That way, they wouldn't leave any bloodstains while they were moving it.
Okay, that explains the tarp. And the dolly?
Same thing. I'm sure the dolly was in the equipment room when we first found Taka's body there. But when the body disappeared, so did the dolly.
Alright.
Later, when Taka's body reappeared in the repository, so did the dolly.
In other words, you think they used the dolly to move the body. Am I right? But are you sure you are not mistaken?
Huh?
Are you absolutely positive the dolly was in the equipment room when we found Taka's body?
Yes. Bloodstains.
That dolly was made specifically for moving large objects between the repository and the art room. It would be very strange indeed to discover it had made its way to the equipment room. Is it not possible that it was in the repository all along, and you simply didn't realize it?
She's raised an objection. How do you respond?
There is no shame in being wrong, and nobody expects much from you anyway.
Well,
Ouch.
fuck you too!
We have all accepted the fact that you rarely understand what is going on around you.
We have been a key player in every fucking trial! Even Byakuya's probably recognized that at this point.
Yeah.
Hell, in fact, if I recall, that was like one of the reasons he fucked with Chihiro's crime scene.
Mm-hmm.
Was to see who the power players were. Ooh, what element is this one?
Oh. Reloading.
I forget what this
Recipe.
is.
At the bottom of the screen, underneath the tempo marker, you'll see your ammo count. What?
Wait. Oh, we're already at the rhythm game?
Apparently.
Oh shit.
Up until now, there hasn't really been a limit on how you destroy your opponent's statements. Now I'm just locking on and pressing the triangle won't be enough to handle them. It'll cost you 1 bolt to destroy a single remark.
Yep.
Bullets can't destroy any more statements, no matter how locked on you are. Reload by pressing square. Okay.
Yep. Yeah, so think of it like a rail shooter with square being shooting away from the screen.
Hmm.
And yes, it'll have to be in rhythm. I forgot how quick the bolt time battle was. Oh my god. Also, yeah, I totally mixed up the names earlier. Non-stop debate was what I was thinking of earlier.
Hmm.
Oh yeah, also Fever Time gives you infinite ammo while it's on. But we are not ungentle.
Right.
Yeah, already.
You have it wrong. I cannot agree. You are a fool. So pathetic. Lies will get you nowhere. Do your worst. Away with you. You miserable wretch. I cannot agree. You are a fool. Lies will get you nowhere. Do your worst. You miserable wretch.
When we can lock on more than once.
I cannot agree. You are a fool. So pathetic. Lies will get you nowhere. Do your worst.
Wow, just went pro bono. Nice.
I cannot agree.
This should prove it.
I didn't even catch what the clue was.
Neither did I. I just clicked triangle.
Because there are some where you have to choose the clue.
Oh
You're
god.
asking for proof that the dolly moved. I have it right here.
But yeah, damn, they didn't even bother negating the negative fever. Damn.
Yeah. I kind of just forgot the button for that, so I just like said screw it.
Fair enough.
When I found the dolly in the repository,
But you just kind of
one the
destroyed that
wheels had a
section.
blood stain on it. There was a pool of blood in the equipment room with a tire mark in it that matched the dolly wheel's tread. The killer probably rolled the dolly through the blood on accident as they wheeled the body out of the room. And
Yeah,
as
those
the
are hard to
blood
control.
dried on the tires, They moved the body into the repository. So there's my proof that the dolly was used to move Taka's body.
Well, anyway, that was just something we had to get out of the way. Let's get back to the main subject.
Yeah, the subject of how Robo-Justice didn't do it. Because if it's not a killer robot, then what kind of robot is it?
No
Not
robot.
sure that really matters.
I'd be happy to explain why the occupant of the suit couldn't possibly be the killer.
How we covered it during the
How
investigation.
the body was transported, it will become immediately obvious.
Yeah, because the thing's so low you have to bend down to get it, and you have no way to bend it.
Yeah, that shit's not made of flexible stuff. It had no joints.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, come on, we really have to non-stop this? Alright. I forget if agree points have been introduced yet.
As we know, Taka was killed in the equipment room. And from there, the body was moved to the repository, correct?
Yeah, the culprit wrapped the body in the tarp, then loaded it onto the dolly and wheeled it off, right?
Now, keep in mind that the dolly doesn't have a handle.
Well, yeah, but even without a handle, all you'd have to do is bend over.
Alright.
Then you could push the dolly no problem. So the killer just crouched down and carted the body off to the repository.
If you accept everything we just
I find it
said,
funny how Toko's just not here
you
right
must
now.
realize that
Yeah.
whoever was in the suit couldn't possibly be the culprit.
Sorry. I don't think I realize anything.
Dude, you've just been lost the whole time anyway.
Well, thank you for spelling it out, Makoto.
Taka was killed, and from there.
I mean, yeah, you're meant to do this on, like, first pass when Makoto gives you your hint.
Well, yeah, but even without it, all you'd have to do is bend over.
What? Why'd you do that?
Then you could push the dolly no
What?
problem.
You accidentally absorbed the statement as a clue.
Oh.
Carted the body off to the
Okay, so apparently it's not R1.
So R1 is slow down. You just accidentally held the button down. You held the fire button down.
Oh.
Yeah, you just have to tap it.
Okay, I'm an idiot.
Yeah. The thing you just did is used for certain arguments where you're trying to agree with someone in a way.
Keep in mind,
Because right, agree points aren't until 2.
without a handle, all you'd have to do is bend over.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah. You just fucked up your button push.
Me not remembering controls after however
You're
long it's
absolutely
been.
right
Yeah.
that you could push a dolly without a handle if you stoop down low.
But yeah, the whole steal statement thing, they updated a bit in later games to where there's now blue statements you can agree with instead of argue with.
Mm-hmm.
So you can just like tap it to go, yes, I agree with you.
What do you mean?
In this game, the best they had was stealing the statement and using it as your own.
Yeah.
Think back to what you said when we were all checking out the suit together.
Good old first game syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
When you're in that suit, not only can you not see your feet, but you can't even bend at the waist. Am I right about that?
Now that you mention it, yeah.
It seems like it'd be awfully hard to push that dolly if you couldn't bend over.
Try impossible.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what's to stop you from simply pushing the dolly with your feet?
The weight of a dead body?
When you can't even see your feet? You really think someone could kick the dolly all that way?
And in like a minute?
Yeah.
It'd be totally impossible. Not that I can say for sure myself.
On top of
I
that,
get a feeling she's had
wearing
that kind of
such a rigid,
experience.
cumbersome suit. It's very unlikely you would have the dexterity to go about wrapping the body in a tarp.
Also true.
Well, I mean, isn't that just a matter of taking off the suit when you're ready to move the body?
And here's where we get to that part.
It has a clasp.
Hero's not strong enough. Yeah, can't take it off by yourself. If it was a third one, he'd still be in the suit.
If you remember,
Man, I forgot how long it takes to debunk the whole hero thing when it's obvious from the start.
That's true. It seems impossible to put the suit on or take it off without help.
Then, you really can't take it off by yourself? Hero wasn't just making it up?
Of course I wasn't making it up.
He's not smart enough to do that.
if he could have gotten it off by himself, I don't think he would have let us see him wearing it. Showing up in the suit was basically an invitation for everyone to suspect it.
Yeah, that's right.
So, it's really, really true.
You are really stuck on this, Hina. Good lord. I forgot how stubborn you are.
To be clear, whoever did move the body, it couldn't have been Hero in the robot suit, correct?
No, wait. Just a second, if you please. Have you forgotten about the picture that I took? You all got a good look at it, did you not? The image of Hifumi being dragged away by Robo-Justice? If whoever was in that suit is not the culprit, how do you explain that? Besides, do you remember what the now deceased Hifumi said? So long as those facts exist, the proper conclusion is beyond question. The individual inside the suit and the culprit are one and the same. It was Hiro, without a doubt. Yeah, that's gotta be right.
Hold on a second.
It's still far too early to reach that conclusion. Besides, there's no hurry to decide who did it before we rush to a verdict. Shouldn't we explore every single possibility? Instead of seizing on one viewpoint, the truth is uncovered by analyzing things from every angle.
Perhaps, but where do we go from here?
Let's review this series of unfortunate events from the beginning. Maybe we'll
Let me
uncover
snick it?
something new.
You were thinking it too, weren't you?
Pain in the ass.
Never actually read the books. I only watched the
But
movie.
our lives are on the line. If this is
Yeah.
what it takes, we have to do it.
Plus, maybe we'll get to find out where the heck Kyoko was when everything went down.
All right then, let's take another look back at what happened. I suppose we could start with this morning. 4 of us gathered together in the dining hall. Makoto, Hina, Kyoko, and myself. We waited there for quite a while, but nobody else showed up, so we went to look for everyone. That was around 8 a.m.
And as soon as we split up, Kyoko went missing.
Soon after that, Hina found Celeste in the rec room and quickly came to get Makoto and me.
It seems I was unconscious for about an hour after I was attacked by my mystery assailant. I know it was an hour because I remember being attacked a little after 7.
That was when we saw Celeste's picture and discovered that her assailant had been wearing a strange costume. As it turns out, it was Robo-Justice.
I wonder if that was the actual name in Japanese too, like, you know, just katakana style. I could see it being that.
We were soon joined in our search by Byakuya and Toko, and then went on to find Hifumi in the library. He was injured, so we took him to the nurse's office and resumed our search for the suspect.
All the recap.
But not long after leaving the nurse's office...
Yep.
When Celeste told us that, we decided to split up and search the 2nd floor. And soon after that,
I saw someone moving around on the 3rd floor, and I yelled out to everyone as soon as I did.
Yeah, this is just a really weirdly complex case in a way.
and then... At that point, we decided to divide up into 2 groups. Celeste, Hina, and I went back to the nurse's office, while Sakura, Byakuya, and Toko chased after the suspect. When we got back to the nurse's office, we found Hifumi, dead.
Or damn near close to it.
Yeah.
And that's when we heard the body discovery announcement. I left Celeste and Hina there and headed back to the 3rd floor to let the others know what had happened.
Meanwhile, we had just discovered Taka's body in the equipment room. We must have found both bodies at almost exactly the same time, because we heard the same announcement not long after we discovered his body.
And that's when I told you guys about Hifumi. Then the 3 of us headed for the nurse's office. But right after we left the physics lab, we ran into Celeste, who'd arrived after us. And she told us something very surprising.
Hey, Shadow.
We rushed back to the nurse's office and saw that she was right.
Then we remembered we'd left Toko passed out in the equipment room, so we hurried back again.
Sneaky boy. I wonder if his purring's getting picked up at all. Sometimes he purrs loud, I don't know.
That now Taka's body had also gone missing.
Alright. Yeah, be careful. He likes to sit almost on top of headphone cords sometimes.
Yeah.
Next thing we knew, we were searching the school for 2 missing dead bodies.
I have been trapped.
And
Yeah,
after some time...
Celeste informed us that she'd found the bodies, and we all headed to the repository. Which
I
is
know how
where we
evidence I can put in.
discovered the corpses.
It is adorable. Oh my god.
I think that about covers it.
I see. The whole thing sounds exceptionally
Oh my
complicated.
god, you have no idea!
It certainly seems to me that these are not a simple series of connected events.
Okay, well, if that's true, then what?
Rather than a single series of events, I think we have to consider each murder a separate situation. And from there, we can uncover the contradictions surrounding all of them. Now then, let's get started, beginning with what happened to Taka.
Yeah, figure out what doesn't add up when you think of both murders separate.
Yeah. One from file number 3. Okay.
So yeah, just the overall autopsy shit, the bumped head trauma.
So,
X to expand it, if you need to.
Similar weapon. Okay.
You look cozy.
guarding Taka's death. I wonder if he died before Hifumi, or perhaps it was after?
We already know what order they were killed in. Taka came last.
What makes you say that?
Because of the numbering of the Justice Hammers.
It's true that Hifumi was killed with Justice Hammer 3, while Taka's death came from a swing of Justice Hammer 4.
See? So it's obvious Taka came after. So, regarding Taka, I wonder if, or perhaps it was after. We already know what order they were killed in.
No one thing.
Shoot! So, regarding, I wonder if, or perhaps it was. We already know what Taka came last.
What makes you say that?
Because of the numbering of the
Oh, do I
Justice
need to grab
Hammers.
the order? And
It's true that Hifumi was killed
I don't
with
see how
Justice
the
Hammer.
file...
You know, maybe.
While Taka's dead.
Okay, that makes more sense
So
to
it's
me.
obvious
Yeah.
Taka came after.
Remembering the grab statement option is always good.
I wonder if, or perhaps
Be
it was
be
after.
glad you
We
did it
already
recently
know what
too by
order they
accident
were
so
killed
we
in.
remembered it.
Taka came last.
What makes you say that?
Because of the numbering of the Justice Hammers.
Oh god.
That was
It's
white noise.
true that Hifumi was killed while Taka's dead.
See?
Yeah, time limits really are a non-issue in this game.
Yeah.
So, regarding I wonder if, or perhaps it was.
We already know what order.
Except for
they
maybe
were
like those
killed in.
multiple choice
Taka
ones,
came
because
last.
sometimes those are like 30 seconds to think.
What makes you say that?
Because of the numbering of the Justice Hammers.
Smart.
No.
Yeah.
There we go. Okay.
Good thinking.
Hold on. There's no reason to
Yeah,
assume
that definitely would have gotten
hammers
me at
were
least
used
once in
the
a
same
previous
order for
playthrough.
numbers.
I know that for a fact.
If anything, that's just another way the killer tried to disguise their actions.
So
You're
you're
adorable.
saying the culprit wanted us to think the hammers were used in order, but in reality, Taka was killed before Hifumi? Okay then, let's see the proof.
Oh, we're going into one of these, alright.
Oh boy.
One giant...
Wristwatch. Yeah.
Yep. Oh my god,
Even up.
kitty.
It's... X to get letters, or...
You gotta hit them until they're red and then hit them again.
Yep.
Helps if you aim.
Yeah.
There we go. Yeah, if I recall, the difficulty basically determines how many of the letters are filled in. I legit don't know if I prefer this or V3s. Definitely not 2s. Definitely not 2s. 2's Hand-Man Gambit can fuck off. You'll know what I mean when we get there.
Okay.
I got it! Papa's wristwatch! See? Look! It broke with the hands pointing just past 6 o'clock.
It must have gotten broken when he was attacked by the killer. Because as of last night, so if it wasn't broken after 6 last night, then he must have been attacked around 6 this morning.
And that would be his official time of death.
But if that's true, then he was killed well before Hifumi.
And before Celeste was attacked this morning, which happened around 7.
That's right. Taka was killed before any of the other incidents took place.
You're just adorable.
That simple fact slipped past all of us. We made the wrong assumption about the order of events, all because of those Justice Hammers.
That's
Classic
exactly
misdirection.
why Culprit wrote the numbers on each hammer and had them increase in size. That way, when we saw how they were used in each incident, we'd easily make that wrong assumption.
Now, if Taka was killed around 6, then everyone's alibis for his murder go out the window. Because when he was killed, we hadn't met up in the dining hall yet.
That may be true in the case of Taka's murder, but all of our alibis still hold true for Hifumi's death.
That's right. With him, at least, we're all safe. When we heard Hifumi screaming, we were all together. Except for Hiro and Kyoko. Then we all ran down to the nurse's office, and that's where we found his body.
That's totally true. We're all in the clear.
Oh, I know! They must have recorded him screaming on a tape or something, then played it later on!
Nope.
If that's true, where's the tape?
I don't know.
Don't just go making stuff up.
Anyway, we all have rock
God
solid
damn it,
alibis
Hiro,
for
you're
when
not
we
helping your
heard the
case.
scream.
Even though we've basically gotten you in the clear, you're not helping.
Since all of us were there together, clearly none of us could have killed him.
And it does not stop there. There was also the moment when we discovered his body had disappeared. When his body vanished from
So
the
when is
nurse's office.
that little point going to come up?
Hina and I were in the bathroom together, while everyone else was in the equipment room, correct? And then there's the disappearance of Taka's body from the equipment room. At that time, we were all gathered together in the nurse's office because of Hifumi going missing.
Well, don't forget, I was passed out in the equipment room the whole time.
Because your other self cannot handle blood for shit.
Wait, then what if Genocide Jill did it? She could have dragged Taka's body out of there right then!
She was still unconscious. She wouldn't have done that and then gone.
Yeah,
right
he didn't
back.
know. He doesn't know that though.
Yeah.
Even if she could pull that off, there's no way she could have done the same with Hifumi's body. Because, as we just established, she was passed out in the equipment room when his body disappeared.
Besides, I didn't do either of them anyway.
In other words, it is impossible that any of us could have killed Hifumi or moved either of their bodies. On the other hand, Hiro and Kyoko had disappeared, so they
That was
most
an
certainly
interesting
could have
enunciation
done
for
it.
Kyoko.
So what now, Kyoko?
For now, we can't get fixated on who did it, or we'll just keep going around in circles. So instead of who, I propose we start talking about how.
Yeah, that tracks.
In particular, I think we need to figure out how Hifumi's body got moved.
True.
That's true. We searched everywhere, but we couldn't figure out how to explain his body disappearing.
Because dollies can't do stairs.
And according to what Celeste said, his body apparently disappeared in the 1 minute her and Hina took their eyes off
I
of it.
just need some mic and editing.
It's carried that much weight from the first floor up to the third in that short amount of time?
There we go.
Oh man, yeah! There's no way! It'd be impossible!
Well, what if I told you there was a way to make the impossible possible?
You better make it make sense.
What? How?
Are you just saying
The dead body.
that specific phrasing just set off certain things in my brain? Thanks to a character in a later installment. Those who know.
That body were to move itself. I mean, to be fair, he wasn't totally dead yet.
The dead body moved on its own?
No! Not another...
It's not a ghost hero. Shut it.
I don't think it has anything to do with the occult. I think what she's implying is we thought Hifumi was dead, but perhaps in reality he was still
Yep.
alive.
I'm guessing this is something you thought for a while ever since you found Taka's body. Like, when did you first start suspecting this?
Hifumi being alive?
Yeah.
I didn't until he started moving from her, and then like he's
Oh.
dead anyway. So at that point, it didn't really matter. But I guess this would explain It explains a lot, but at the same time, it makes no sense. Him moving himself.
Well, yeah, well, we'll get to the why and everything, but yeah, keep in mind, that first announcement happened when both parties found both bodies.
Oh, yeah, so that was the announcement for Taka being discovered. Oh. And we just assumed it was for him because he was in front of us.
Then remember when we found his body again.
Mm-hmm.
Are you saying Hifumi wasn't carried out of the nurse's office, but simply walked out on his own?
But I mean, we found his body. He was dead.
Perhaps he was simply playing dead.
That it isn't possible.
Oh, time for another non-stop.
What?
Are you...
I mean, it could be another take someone else's statement thing, I'm not sure.
Yeah, because it makes...
Saying that when we first found Hifumi
Now we'll
in the
just have to
nurse's
listen to it all.
office, there's a chance he was actually still alive.
No.
Okay.
It is impossible. Hifumi was dead, without a doubt.
And you
How
know
are you
that
so
how?
certain? Yeah.
Surely you heard the body discovery announcement along
Uh-huh.
with the rest of us. Hifumi's dead body had been found. And that is why the announcement was made.
Are
I
we
see.
really so sure about that? Maybe the announcement was intended to signal someone
Oh.
else's discovery.
It should be stressed, yeah, any statement you do still carries over. In case that's, in case it is what I'm thinking it might be for the statements. I believe, like, for example, if we took that last one, it would carry over to the here.
Hifumi in the nurse's office. There's a chance he was actually still alive.
No. It is impossible. Hifumi was dead. And you know that. Surely you heard the body Hifumi's dead body had been found. And that is why the announcement was made.
Are we really? Maybe the announcement was intended to signal someone else's discovery.
Are you saying that when we
Yeah.
first found
What is
Hifumi
it?
in the
The
nurse's
first one or the
office, there's a
second?
chance he was actually still alive?
I'm pretty sure we're supposed to repeat the last year.
Hifumi was
Yeah.
dead.
And you know that how?
Or there's
Surely
white
you
voice.
heard the body
Yeah.
discovery announcement along with the Hifumi's dead body had been found.
No.
Yep, I was right. Good. Figured I'd just bring that up just to be safe.
Yeah.
Was the body discovery announcement that was made really intended?
Because that's a gameplay quirk you might forget about easily.
Mm-hmm.
Of course it was. The announcement played right after we
I
discovered
find it
his
funny
body.
how I've had to bring up certain bits on a few Celeste moments, because like there was this, and also us accidentally talking over the slip of the tongue in case 2,
Maybe.
with the blue
But that was
tracksuit.
also the same time that Taka's body was found.
That's right. It wasn't long after finding his body that we heard the announcement.
So there's a good chance we made a mistake in there somewhere. I think we've confused whether the announcement was for Hifumi or Taka.
First of all, if 2 bodies had been found, there really should have been 2 announcements.
Maybe Monokuma simply got lazy and rolled them together into one.
What do you say, Monokuma? Any comment?
Well, it's a very sensitive issue, so I can't go into too much detail. But what I can say about the body discovery announcement is that it's only broadcast when 3 or more people find a dead body for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
That didn't answer our question, man. We're asking if you're a lazy bum.
Bruh.
Do you want him to stab you, hero?
Stares at the originators who keeps getting pencils in body parts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, didn't it? It did play twice. We got it again in the repository.
No, actually, that was plenty. He said it's only broadcast when a body is discovered for the first time. Which means, even if we find the same body again later, he won't make the announcement again. If that's true, then why was the announcement made again later on?
Huh? later on?
Exactly. We heard the body discovery announcement twice.
Like, it was gonna be either Miyaki or Kyoko who started up that line. That's always one of them.
The second time was when...
It was when they were rediscovered. Because remember, we got this third CG, and then it played, and then Akina went up to his body.
I got it! We heard it a second time in the repository, when we rediscovered the two bodies. It didn't seem weird at the time, but it contradicts what Monokuma just told us, doesn't it?
Exactly. If we were actually rediscovering both bodies, the announcement shouldn't have played.
And in reality, when the two dead bodies were rediscovered, one of them was actually being discovered for the first time.
So, when we found Hifumi the first time in the nurse's office, he wasn't actually dead yet. Meaning, he wasn't actually found dead until we came upon him in the repository.
And that's just part of it. There's one other thing that leads me to believe he was still alive in the nurse's office.
So one thing that never does come up in the later games is with any double murders ever. Imagine if someone did this again, but they actually survived to the trial. What would that do to the dynamic?
Oh, I know! Because he was super good at playing dead! Bada bing, bada boom!
That is the worst logic I have ever heard. But honestly, I do not think there's anything that can prove he was still alive.
Okay then, let's take another look at the events surrounding the discovery of his body. Then it should become clear whether he was really alive or not.
This whole thing is pointless.
And now one certain piece of evidence should make a lot more sense to you.
Wait.
Remember how we found him afterward?
Well, yeah, it's just, I thought we were gonna use, this.
Yeah, that's a fair one to guess, but I'm guessing we're going to use that as a follow-up.
Yeah, I suppose. Okay.
Thing we do know. The first time we found Hifumi's body was in the nurse's office.
True.
And then, while me and Celeste were in the bathroom, his body disappeared.
And the next time we saw his body, it was in the repository.
But when you compare his body before being moved and his body after being moved, other than the change in how it was positioned, there was no notable difference.
There it is.
Yep.
Then, was he really...
I think you just like to listen to it all just to make absolute sure. Fair enough.
Basically, you see all the pieces of the puzzle.
Yeah. Never a bad
Here's
idea.
one thing we do. The first time we found him, and then his body
And the next time, it was in...
But when you compare his body before, other than the change in how it was, there was no notable difference.
No, it's wrong.
I figured you could just double hit them like that.
Yeah, I thought I had to do it twice.
I legit thought so too, so yeah.
In fact, there was one clear difference between Hifumi in the nurse's office and the repository. His glasses. That fact alone proves that he was only playing dead in the beginning.
I mean, on its own, no it doesn't, but...
Perhaps you'd like to fill the rest of us in?
When we found Hifumi in the nurse's office, his glasses were covered with blood.
Which, by the way, kudos to Makoto for that memory there. I would not really think of that.
Yeah.
They were spotless. And I found the item he used to wipe them
There we
clean
go.
in the nurse's office trash can.
I can use it as your follow-up evidence.
I got it! It was a glasses cleaning cloth featuring a certain cartoon mascot. One look at the bloodstain on the cloth should make things clear. This piece of cloth was used to wipe Hifumi's glasses clean, and the mascot on the cloth is the same one that's on the digital camera, right? And whose digital camera was it? Hifumi's, of course.
The character was Princess Piggles. from Demon Angel Pretty Pudgy Princess.
Wow, you actually remembered that.
I highly doubt anyone but Hifumi would have brought something like this to school.
I see your point. And the only people here who wear glasses are...
I wouldn't be caught dead using a tacky piece of garbage
Yep.
like that.
Exactly.
A few tissues is all I need to keep my glasses clean.
And then there's me.
No question.
My shirt works.
It belonged to Hifumi.
So what you're saying is... What exactly?
He got up and walked away.
What I'm saying is, the blood on his glasses was wiped away using his own glasses cleaning cloth.
Even if that is true, it does not mean he wiped the blood off himself.
But who would benefit from a clean pair of glasses other than the glasses owner?
That's a good point.
And it must have been him, right?
So let's assume that Hifumi was still alive in the nurse's office. He pretends to be dead. Then when he's alone, he wipes his glasses clean so he can see. Then he stands up and walks out on his own 2 feet.
Yep.
And with that, the impossible task of moving his copious corpse becomes possible, wouldn't you say?
Okay, but why of all places does he go to the repository?
But then,
We'll get there.
he was just
Yeah.
pretending to be dead. What was with all that blood? Was it paint or something?
The fridge in the nurse's office contains packs of blood for emergencies. He probably used one of those.
Blood, blood infusions and such. Those are necessary.
Yeah.
He figured if he was gonna play dead, he should go all out. So he just dumped it everywhere. But he got crazy with it and had to wipe his glasses off when he was done. God, what an idiot.
And if Hifumi was still alive at that point, the disappearance of Taka's body is easily explained. It should be perfectly obvious who must have moved Taka's corpse.
Taka moved his own corpse.
Yeah.
It could only have been Hifumi.
Some of the multiple choice answers are great.
He went to the equipment room and took Taka's body.
That also explains how the door to the repository got locked.
The door was locked?
Yep.
Yeah. After the bodies disappeared, we all went looking for them, right? So me and Sakura headed for the repository.
And we did too.
Yep.
But when we got there, the door was locked.
And the repository door can only be locked from the inside. Which means, when Hina and Sakura got to the repository, someone was already inside.
And it could only have been Hifumi, who'd just finished stashing Taka's body there.
He convinced us all he was dead, and when he saw his chance, he dragged Taka's body to the repository. So, Hifumi wasn't just another victim in this case. He was one of the assailants.
But that means he took part in the murders.
I just can't believe it.
If you're having trouble, would you like me to show you one more piece of evidence?
There's more?
Oh, absolutely. The single biggest fact pointing to his involvement has yet to be revealed. You know what I'm talking about, right, Makoto? The item he took off of Taka's lifeless body?
I got it! You're talking about the note Hifumi had hidden away, aren't you?
Oh, man.
Hidden note?
That's right. We found it stuffed in his pants.
Now's not the time to go.
In his pants?
Yes, his pants.
Sakura, what the fuck was that delivery?
Okay, well, forget about the pants for now. Take a look at what the note says.
Meeting equipment room at 6.
That's the note I was telling you about. The one that told me where to go.
Except,
Wait, this one's a little different. In my note it said, Monokuma can't find out, so don't tell anyone else for now. Let's meet in the rec room at 1 a.m.
I see. Then this note isn't the same one Hiro got.
It's not the same?
In other words, the killer got in touch with another person besides Hiro. And that person could only have been...
bruh.
I got it! That's
Hifumi's
right.
pants.
Taka!
To be fair, that was a fairly logical train of thought for a teenager to end up going back to.
The killer
Because
used
that is a
this
distracting
note
train of
to
thought.
draw out Taka and murder him.
Hello? Over here! Objection! Objection!
Wrong series, but okay.
I don't
What's
really
your objection?
understand what's going on, but Hifumi had that letter, right? So whoever wrote it wasn't drawing out TikTok, they were drawing out Huffy!
Fair nicknames.
Just to be clear, TikTok is Taka and Huffy is Hifumi, right?
Oh, yes! Why must you ruin it every time?
Ugh, inhaled saliva. Never fun. Yeah. One thing you can never knock this series for, the soundtrack.
Okay.
Oh, we got options now. You know we're getting close to when that happens.
Right? Then the person it was
I
intended
don't think we
for
need the glasses.
must have been Huffy!
If I recall, it's L1 is to
Remember
switch
what
the
they meant.
bullets.
What time did it say to meet?
6 a.m., I believe.
The time
Oh.
doesn't matter!
It does.
The note has nothing to do with TikTok!
Gotcha.
And you know which evidence to use now.
Huffy had the note, right? Then the person it was intended must have been Huffy!
But remember what the note said.
Come on.
What time did it say to meet?
6 a.m., I believe.
The time doesn't matter! The note has nothing to do with TikTok!
That's where you're wrong. No, that's wrong.
Sorry about Chigayo. Pronounce the Japanese phrase.
No, there absolutely is a connection.
What the hell are you talking about?
The note said to meet at 6 a.m., which is the same time Taka was murdered. We've already proven that using his wristwatch. But there's more. Look where the note says to meet. The equipment room, right?
Which is where Taka was killed. I see.
So, Taka was murdered at both the time and place written in the note.
Yeah, that concludes it for sure.
I think that should be plenty to show that this note was definitely meant for Taka.
Well, when you put it like that... No further objections!
Okay.
Someone used that note to trick Taka, just the same as me. The culprit really is a cold-blooded monster, telling people they found a way out.
But if
If I
they
recall, I
did
think
it
that's
for
Greg
Taka,
Chun
What was
as
Hifumi doing with it?
as Hero,
Stuffed down his pants, no less!
because it kind of reminds me of his voice for Ichiban in Yakuza 7.
Most likely. Hifumi stole it off Taka's corpse after he died.
He stole it?
Where's your proof? Go ahead, show us.
Very well.
Proof is this.
I got it! When I searched Taka's body, I saw that his lifeless hand was gripping a small scrap of paper. If I'm right about this, the sheet of paper this piece came from is... I knew it!
A bit more for
It fits
editing
perfectly with the note
purposes,
we
just to
found
be
hidden
safe.
on Hifumi.
There we go. I know, so it was in the right a lot, so I wanted to avoid any audio spikes.
Then Taka's scrap and Hifumi's note.
Yup, they're from the same piece of paper.
Hifumi had the note meant for Taka, while Taka's corpse still grasped a small piece of that note. There's only one
Well,
way
I'm still
to
good with that,
explain
right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, just checking.
Taka died clutching the note. Hifumi tried to free the note from his death grip, leaving behind only one small scrap. Did I get all that right?
That means Hifumi knew the note was important.
Exactly. Which proves that he was an accomplice in the murder.
Whoa. Yeah. After seeing all this, Hifumi was super involved in this whole thing for sure. In fact, he was behind the whole thing. In fact,
No!
he's still alive.
Sorry, no.
Yeah.
When we found him in the repository, Hifumi was truly and completely dead.
You sure about that?
The second body discovery announcement proves that.
So then, who killed Hifumi?
Whoever did is the mastermind, the true killer.
He was killed in the repository. So he must have been killed not long after transporting Taka's body.
So, he must have been killed after Taka's body vanished, but before we found both bodies in the repository.
During that time, we'd all split up and were searching for Taka's missing body. In other words, during that time, none of us have alibis.
Wait, but me and Sakura were together.
Stop trying to steal the spotlight, you stupid walrus!
Who are you calling a walrus?
Anyway, when they were killed bothers me too.
When Hiro's the one to change the subject.
It's bothering me even more.
And what might that be?
The weapon they used to kill Hifumi.
Ooh, good point.
Yeah, because I mean, according to the Monokuma file, the way Taka and Hifumi were killed was almost the same, with them having similar fractures and all. But Justice Hammer 3 and 4 were still laying around in the nurse's office and equipment room, right?
Oh.
And now you're remembering a certain piece of evidence, aren't you?
Hifumi was killed in the repository. The culprit would have had to grab one of the hammers, kill Hifumi, then put the hammer back where they found it. But wouldn't that be seriously risky for him?
I'm surprised. It seems there's some semblance of a brain knocking around that skull.
Savage, but fair.
Hell yeah, it's packed in there good and tight.
Okay.
He's right, though. I don't understand it either.
Hiro actually bringing up a good point.
The Monokuma file makes it clear that they were killed using similar instruments.
Similar, but not the same.
But if the hammers were already laying around those other rooms...
So the question is, how could the culprit have gotten their hands on either of the hammers?
They didn't.
Personally, I haven't a clue. So which hammer was used to attack Celeste? Number 1 or number 2?
That is not relevant to what we're asking.
Those were accounted for in other rooms too. And I don't think either one is big enough to kill someone.
Then,
Is it not possible they used a different weapon?
I don't think it is possible. They were both killed with the same kind of thing, right?
So then, what was used to kill Hifumi?
Oh, but don't do another non-stop, alright.
Yep, okay.
Okay, yeah,
What was
maybe I
used
should have
to
upped the
kill
difficulty a
Hifumi?
bit. Oh well.
Was it Justice Hammer 3? Maybe Justice Hammer 4?
well, whatever it was, there's one thing we have to figure out. How was the culprit able to move around so freely with the weapon? How did nobody witness them carrying it?
Sounds like a Justice Hammer 5 is about to make its appearance! Check out murdergear.com/hammertime for more info!
God damn it.
Stop.
One thing seems pretty clear.
Stop hammer time.
The murder weapon had
Yes, I had to.
Justice hammers.
Oh, okay, so we're doing that.
That's about it.
That's what makes sense.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, sometimes he just has to let them get it out before they bring up the actual weak point. It happens.
What was used to kill?
Was it just maybe Justice?
Well, there's one. How was the culprit? How did nobody?
Sounds like a Justice Hammer. Check out murdergear.com.
Well, one thing seems pretty clear. The murder weapon had to be one of the...
No, that's wrong.
Yeah, one thing I am glad about is how you got the don't use focus one on the first trial.
Mm-hmm.
Because, as you've seen, it's almost necessary on certain bits.
No,
Yeah.
it was something completely different.
But, seriously? A different weapon?
Specifically, a hammer from the repository. The killer could have easily used that to kill Hifumi. Now, all the hammers in the repository were covered in flecks of grit and debris. But for some reason, one of them had been scrubbed clean. And the reason it had been scrubbed clean was most likely because it was
It's a similar
used to
situation to
commit
clean up
murder.
Makoto's room when that was really a bad idea.
If the hammer got covered in Hifumi's blood,
Of course, this time they had a reason to clean it. Like, even more so, but still.
I'd also like to point out that the repository has all kinds of hammers. Big ones, small ones, and even some flat mallet-like ones. I think whoever made the Justice Hammers used those as a basis for their design.
If that's true, that would explain the Monokuma file's note about the wounds being similar.
So Hifumi moved Taka's body to the repository, where someone then used a hammer to kill him.
Whoever did that is the true killer. The one Hifumi was working with. And the one who betrayed him. Hold on a moment. I still think it's strange to assume someone was working together with him. The way the graduation rule works, there is no benefit to helping someone else carry out a murder. So the idea that anyone would work together like that is simply ludicrous. We talked about this, did we not?
Fair point.
Okay, don't see how that's relevant. I'm probably gonna have to grab something.
Probably.
Based on the rules that have been laid out for us, even if more than one
I forgot
person
how long
is
this trial
complicit in
actually
the
takes.
murder, only the one who actually carried out the act can graduate and
I'm
survive.
just checking the record time.
Assuming the rule holds true, it is simply impossible that two people work together on this.
That's probably the
That
refute.
is how the rule was explained to us.
But that only really applies if there's one murder, right? In this case, however, there were two murders.
Wait, what? 2 murders and then...
Based on the rules that have been laid out for us, even if more than one person is complicit in the murder, only the one who actually carried out the act can graduate and survive. Assuming the rule holds true,
I think I'm gonna
it
grab
is simply
the other
impossible
one and try to
that
hit it.
two people
Yeah, I don't see how you use impossible to argue
But that
something
only
here.
really applies
Yeah.
if there's one murder, right? In this case, however, there were two murders.
Thank God the white noise doesn't interrupt that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think as long as you start it before the white noise shows up, you're
More
good.
than one person is complicit. Only the one who actually carried out the act can graduate and survive. Assuming the rule holds true, it is simply... No, it's wrong.
Since there were two murders, it's at least plausible that more than one person was involved.
What do you mean?
If there'd only been one murder, then yes, the idea of an accomplice isn't really worth considering. Naturally, if only one person can be saved per murder, an accomplice has no risk versus reward benefit.
Risk versus reward benefit?
The payoff for working together. The reward that balances out the risk of taking part in the scheme. There's no point in being someone's accomplice if there's no benefit to you. However, if there were some potential mutual reward for the risk, then cooperation becomes possible.
You're saying that two people could act as each other's accomplices to commit two separate murders.
I think that's what the true killer told Hifumi. They would each have an accomplice.
Like, even if it wasn't actually true from Monkuma's eyes, it's a good trick.
And based on the case's events, Hifumi would have been the first one to act, murdering Taka. They made him carry out the first murder so he couldn't back out of helping them later on.
So in this case, there wasn't one single person committing multiple murders. Instead, each person killed someone, creating two separate incidents. And it only looked like one person because that's how the true killer designed it to look. A single suspicious individual, a similar weapon used in each crime, disappearing bodies. By creating one seamless set of circumstances, they made it look like one person was behind it all.
The mastermind picked their target and managed to convince him to go along with their plan. And then, to avoid the no accomplices rule, they simply killed their accomplice. Which, if true, means that betraying Hifumi was part of the plan from the very beginning.
That's just awful. How could anyone be so cruel?
So, what's your current theory at the moment?
That it's Celeste. Mainly because she's been fighting us a lot this trial.
Understandable.
So, I can't help but admire its cunning. Their choice of accomplice seems odd.
I forgot about this part of the song.
I understand how an accomplice could be involved. But then, who was the one pulling Hifumi's strings?
That's problem numero uno right now.
Alright. Yeah, they take a while to get to this. So in case it was... So, fun thing to mention about the review I edited for, I was editing together trials 1 through 4 for the spoiler review. And for this trial, I mostly had to use the fucking comic recap for footage of what happened. Because as you've noticed, we really were not there for any of it.
Yeah. Oh god.
Oh, we're already at this point, okay.
Still want to make sense, but at the same time I feel like I'm making a mistake when I say this.
Here's my answer. It was Celeste.
Ah, so I'm the suspicious individual now, am I? I really do hate this kind of joke.
A joke?
Interesting spacing on that J.
So what you
Why
are
are the
saying,
J's and O's so
is
close
that
together
I
in joke? What the fuck?
chose to work together with Hifumi. The idea that I would choose to spend any amount of time interacting with him, that I would go within 10 feet of that shit from brain fat, lazy, worthless, goddamn idiot!
Just to be clear, there is evidence to support it.
Is that so?
It is. Throughout the investigation, there was certain behavior that was common only to the two of you. Considering what we've learned so far, it only further proves that the two of you were working together.
Think it over. How many times did anyone other than them claim to see Robo Justice?
I got it.
No one.
Yeah.
The behavior they had in common has to do with the suspicious individual in the suit, doesn't it? The only ones who ever actually saw Robo Justice firsthand were Celeste and Hifumi.
Shush. The adults are talking now.
Oi.
Sorry.
As he said, only Celeste and Hifumi ever laid eyes. If we accept that Hifumi was one of the culprits, we can't help but suspect what Celeste has said as well.
Are you saying everything they told us was a lie?
I mean, they are the ultimate gambler. Lying and having a poker face comes with that.
After taking Hifumi to the nurse's office, we all began our search for this individual, correct? And not too long after that, do you remember what Celeste said? We headed to the second floor specifically because of what she claimed to have seen. Next, to draw us all to the physics lab up on the third floor,
She let out a blood-curdling scream.
and when we'd all come to see what was wrong, what was it she said? Once she'd done her job of getting us all up to the physics lab, it was time for her partner to get to work.
It was to get us to divide into two groups. So that we would discover both bodies at the same time?
In fact, Celeste was precisely the one who proposed that we split up.
Yeah, not how it was specifically groups of 3.
Well, if Celeste and Hifumi were working together, all those chance events suddenly become connected. And on top of that, that piercing cry of yours early on. That was to signal Hifumi, wasn't it? It was your way of telling him, we're on the third floor, everything's going according to plan. Why else would you let out a scream that could have carried across the sea?
I just realized another strange thing. When we found Hifumi in the nurse's office, who we now know was only pretending to be dead, Celeste, you were the first one to say he'd been murdered. You wanted to make sure we wouldn't have any doubt in our minds.
I don't believe it. The whole thing was one big act!
Hina, you were with Celeste when Hifumi's body disappeared, right?
Yeah? I was feeling kinda sick, so Celeste took me to the bathroom. Wait! Then that was...
She wasn't worried about you. She just saw a chance to help Hifumi sneak out of the nurse's office.
Each piece isn't much by itself, but start putting them together and the picture gets very ugly indeed. Wouldn't you agree, Celeste?
You find one thread.
I have no idea what you mean.
Don't bother trying to deny it. You made one fatal mistake.
Oh, did I?
I didn't even catch it myself when you first said it, but looking back, I can say that that one little slip-up was your undoing.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about what you said after Hifumi's body disappeared and we returned to the nurse's office.
I remember her saying that too.
Oh yeah, I legit forgot about that detail.
What's so strange about it?
Then pay attention. Sakura, Toko, and I were first to discover Taka's body in the equipment room.
Oh.
Then Makoto showed up and told us Hifumi had been killed. So Sakura and I left with Makoto. Once we were in the hall, we ran into Celeste, and the four of us headed to the nurse's office.
She wouldn't have known that the second one was there. Or she
wouldn't-
shouldn't have.
Yeah, she should not have known about Taka yet.
Now, the entire time we were together, none of us said anything about Taka being dead. Think about it. Celeste's comment doesn't make sense. It was completely out of place.
Yeah, I see what you're talking about. Although I don't really get what it means.
Hagakure, please.
Hero, sit down, shut up, we'll handle this.
You hear that, Celeste? Everyone's having some trouble understanding. Could you repeat what you said? If you're really not the culprit, you shouldn't have any problem repeating it, right?
And we're doing another non-stop, alright. I don't think it's that.
Yeah.
All I said was... They must really be enjoying this. Enjoying the sight of us standing around, frightened and confused. They must be positively elated. We are all going to die here. We are going to die, just like those guys died. And that is all I said.
And that's all it takes to finish this. It's obvious, isn't it, what was so strange about Celeste's comment?
Oh wait, I think I grabbed the comment that I was supposed to...
Well, yeah, you did it backwards. Easy enough to fix, though. Just fire it off at blank, at a blank.
All I said was...
Into the hair.
Really be enjoying the sight of us. They must be. We are going to die. And
Yeah, I definitely prefer the agree points in the later games to this mechanic.
About Celeste's comment?
Lots of first game syndrome bits when you're going back and replaying this.
Mm-hmm.
all I said was they must really enjoying the sight of us. They must be.
I love how many different points they can let you grab just to throw you off.
Just like.
No, it's wrong. That's right. There's no reason Celeste should have said, just like those guys died. When she said that, none of us had told her Taka was dead.
By the way, fun fact, the Emerge series I showed you before, this trial was the furthest they got. I think Burnout hit.
Exactly. And we didn't run into her until after we were all out in the hall. So there was never any chance for her to have seen his body in the equipment room for herself.
So how did you know, Celeste? How did you know more than one person had been killed? And how did you know they were both guys? Because Kyoko had also disappeared, right? So she could have been dead too.
You all have such vivid imaginations. You know that?
Oh boy.
Imaginations.
You claim that I was lying when I told you about the suspicious person I saw. Then what about the picture I took?
Easy.
How do you explain this picture of the costumed villain?
Like, you can take this one easily for the explanation, right?
Yeah, because Hifumi's working with her, and, well, Hero's a freaking idiot.
Well, also, remember what Hero claimed happened to him.
He got knocked out and drugged.
Yeah.
It has to be some kind of setup, right? So let's put the suit on, and then she used the camera's timer to...
You're half right.
To set up the picture.
Have you so quickly forgotten? You are the only one who could have possibly fit into that suit. Plus, I happen to know that this particular camera does not have a timer. In other words, it is an unassailable fact that this is a picture of Hifumi being dragged away. If everything I told you was a lie, how can this picture exist?
Simple. Are we sure that's really a picture of the suspect dragging Hifumi away?
What could you possibly mean by that?
Surely there are other explanations than the one you've offered up.
No, there is no other explanation.
It's not a picture of the suspect dragging Hifumi away. I would say it's a picture of Hifumi dragging the suspect away.
That's certainly within the realm of possibility. The one being dragged off in that picture isn't Hifumi, but the person in the robot suit.
Which, God, that must not have been fun for Hifumi.
We've simply been led to believe that it's the other way around.
Like, A, Hero tall, so he probably weighs a fair bit. And B, that suit looks bulky to hold.
The strange costume might only exist to lead us astray even farther. If you saw someone wearing something like that in this situation, of course you'd notice and be suspicious.
That's what happened! You put me to sleep and made me out to be the bad guy in all this!
Such a thing is utterly impossible. Hifumi was dragging him away? Ridiculous.
Is it? I don't think it's ridiculous at all.
Then shut your mouth and allow me to educate you.
Oh boy. Man, I legit forgot how long the trial is, fucking Christ!
Oh, okay. I'm just gonna check those. You got
The blueprints, the costume, and Hero's account, I think it was. Yeah, it's basically his note.
Yeah.
Me up in that suit after I passed
That was
out.
a message, not his account.
Then you just dragged me across the
Oh,
room
yes,
and
the
hit
handwriting.
me. You tried to make me look like the bad guy.
Like I said, ridiculous. As you can see in the picture, the suspect is standing perfectly upright. If the person inside the suit was unconscious, there's no way they could stand up straight like that.
Then the fortune-telling idiot is the culprit after all!
No way!
I think I have to take the middle one.
No,
Do
yeah,
one
you have the evidence.
Oh.
You just need to contradict the statement.
Oh.
You dressed me up in that suit after I passed out. Then you just draped me across Hifumi and had him carry
Don't
me.
forget you have a fast forward.
You tried to make me look like the...
Like I said, ridiculous. As you can see in the picture, the suspect is standing perfectly upright. If the person inside the suit was unconscious, there's no way they could stand up straight like that.
No, it's wrong. No. Even if the person inside the suit were unconscious, they could still stand up like that, because that Robo-Justice suit had a certain characteristic.
It had no flexibility whatsoever. Fucking ever.
That's right! They totally made a mistake when they made it, so it couldn't bend at the waist.
I'm not so sure that was a mistake. I think the suit was designed from the beginning to be used.
Look, that's a reaction face.
Celeste and Hifumi took the suit they'd specially designed and stuffed Hiro into it. That's how they were able to fake that whole thing. The point of it all was to make us believe whoever was in the suit was to blame.
Well
My
then,
good.
I suppose this is checkmate.
Checkmate?
Not for the ultimate gambler.
And she's losing it.
Don't make me laugh, you idiot! What do you mean, checkmate? Celeste? Clearly, you want to cram me into your little guilty box. Well, there's one little problem. Have you already forgotten what Hifumi told us as he lay dying? When we asked him who had attacked him, his answer was quite clear, was it not?
But we also know that he was an accomplice, so he was pointing the finger at the wrong person anyway, so that statement doesn't help.
Bear in mind, he was only doing that because he thought he'd get out.
Mm-hmm.
Said, and I quote, Yasuhiro. In other words, Yasuhiro Hagakure!
Right, but my name isn't really Yasuhiro. It's actually Taro.
Dude, please. You're not helping.
Your confusing statements don't make any sense. You're only making things more complicated.
He did say Yasuhiro. But are we sure he was really pointing the finger at Hiro?
What the hell are you talking about? I'll burn you alive!
Kyoko, what do you mean by that?
Think back to how Hifumi used to talk to us. How did he refer to each of us?
I want to say he went for last names.
Yeah, because that's Genocide Jack, and I don't know who for Sirius is.
For Sirius is Hero.
Oh, okay.
I got it! That's right! Our last names! He called us all by our last names!
Exactly. I know I heard him say Mr. Naegi more than once, for example. So if Hifumi did mean to say Hiro's name, he would have said his last name, Hagakure.
I'm sure it was just incidental. By chance, his first name. Indecent?
Don't talk.
Don't talk.
Random chance. Now isn't that a convenient explanation? No. There's no reason to think he would have said the name any different than normal. But he must have run out of energy before he could say any more.
So Hifumi was trying to tell us the last name of whoever killed him?
But the name he said doesn't apply to anyone here.
Well, no. Hold on. There's one person it could apply to. And that's Celeste. She never actually told us what her real name is.
True.
What did you just say? To think you'd take your false accusation so far, I don't know whether to laugh or spit!
By the way, major props to the VA for this delivery.
Mm-hmm.
I looked her up. She's not been in many works. But, yeah, really good job.
Loser's name. Do I look like a loser to you? Well, do I? What?
I think you skipped a line somewhere or something.
A little on edge.
Okay, then fill us in.
Well, can you hit the log real quick? I believe... No, it should be like touchpad. Huh, okay, I guess she didn't skip a line. That was weird.
Hmm.
Like, I felt like it should have been a response to someone.
Hmm.
Like the what, I think I deserve to be a little on edge.
Hmm.
Oh well.
Make sure your ear holes are wide open and listen up! My real name is Celestia Ludenberg. Could you please stop making me repeat myself over and over again?
I suspect that we're about to go into the comic, but... Oh... Right.
Hifumi was trying to tell us something. He wanted us to know the killer's last name. Yasuhiro.
If there's one person here who might have that last name,
It would have to be you, Celeste. You haven't told anyone what your real name is.
how many times do I have to tell you? My name is... Celestia Bludenberg! Damn it!
How long do you plan to go on pretending?
I'm not pretending. It's the truth. And since you have no way to contradict me, that's the only truth there is! Moron!
I legit forgot she brought the e-handbook before the case as well, before this playthrough, so...
Killer's last name.
Fun foreshadow.
Yasuhiro.
If there's one
I have to just fast forward to it.
It would have to be you, Celeste.
How many times? Celestia Bludenberg!
How long do you plan?
I'm not pretending. And since you have no way to contradict me,
About that.
No, it's wrong. That's it. The handbook.
what?
Anytime you turn your handbook on, it shows the owner's name when it boots up, right? Monokuma told us all about it before. So all we have to do is check her handbook, and that'll clear up everything. That's how we can find out Celeste's real name.
That's an invasion of privacy. I refuse to cooperate.
You're gonna get killed if you don't.
Celeste, can you please just tell us what really happened? Please. Just tell us.
Even when I'm put in check, it's just my nature not to give up. Because until the game's over, you never know what might happen.
Fine then. Let me settle it.
Here we go.
Let me go over the case again, from the beginning, and shed light on all your crimes. And that'll bring everything to an end.
Oh boy.
10 pages. Also, that Hifumi face.
How did the killer recruit their accomplice? Was it seduction? Wait, what? That's from an older case. What the
Yes,
hell?
it was. They try and trip you up a bit. Remember, you have multiple, yeah.
That's from an older case.
Yes, they're trying to trip you up here. Oh, right, there's more this way. Okay.
It's either this one or this one for right there.
That's the dolly, though. That's him dragging the body.
Oh, okay. Time because called their victim to the rec room.
So that'll be the hero one. Hero really did not have a good day.
Mm-mm.
I love the way they drew Awakened Taka there.
Mm-hmm.
God help anyone who doesn't know how to read analog clocks for some fucking reason.
Yeah. Taka was number 4. Library is something.
Oh, I believe that's the hammer he faked being hit by.
Oh, he said. Whoops.
That-
He said number 2.
Yeah.
So number 1 was Celeste.
The fucking art.
Swings and nurse left is that would be number 3. Use something to move. Okay, there we go.
Yep. Oh my god, that face. I did not need Cat Hifumi. Now, hopefully that's all correct.
Here's exactly what happened. Before anything, the killer persuaded someone to help carry out the murder. And that person was... Hifumi. With an accomplice, the killer was able to execute a number of otherwise impossible schemes. First, they convinced someone to meet them in the rec room last night at 1 in the morning. That someone they met with was Hiro. The murderous duo intended to pass Hiro off as the prime suspect. So when they met up with him, they drugged him, knocked him out, and stuffed him into the Robo-Justice suit. Next, Hifumi positioned himself to make it look like Robo-Justice was attacking him, while the killer used a digital camera to take pictures of the assault. They did all this just to create evidence that would put the suspicion on Hiro. When they were done with him, they shoved him, still unconscious, into the pool room locker. And then finally, at 6 a.m., they moved into the murder phase of their plan. They called Taka to the equipment room. And that's where Hifumi killed him, making it the scene of the first murder. The murder weapon was Justice Hammer 4, which was left there in the equipment room. The reason Hammer number 4 was used was to create confusion about the order of the crimes. So, next they falsified 2 more assault incidents. For these attacks, the killers pretended to be the victims, to solidify Robo-Justice as the suspect. The first fake incident was the attack in the rec room. There, the killers wanted us to see Justice Hammer 1, and the Robo-Justice pictures they'd taken. They wanted to make sure we bought the surprise attack story. The second fake incident was the attack in the library. This time, they planted Justice Hammer 2, and an injured Hifumi, to sell us that story. With these 2 incidents, the killers were able to create a certain preconception in our minds that the suspect was increasing the size of the hammers and attacking people in order as they did. We fell right into their trap and started looking for the suspect based on that. But while we did that, we left Hifumi alone in the nurse's office. This was exactly what Hifumi was hoping for. He took a blood packet from the refrigerator and Justice Hammer 3 and turned the room into a crime scene, in which he himself had apparently been brutally murdered. He let out a scream to draw us back, and when we returned, that's what we found. Meanwhile, the other group that had been out searching found Taka's body at the same time. So when we heard the body discovery announcement, we naturally assumed it was for Hifumi. We left the nurse's office, and Hifumi once again took advantage of the situation. He simply got up and made his escape. When we learned his body had disappeared, we all rushed back to the nurse's office. And once again, Hifumi had the chance he was waiting for. This time, he snuck into the equipment room. He wrapped Taka's body in a tarp and used the dolly to move it all the way down to the repository. That explains how each of the bodies disappeared. But even Hifumi didn't know what the true killer had in mind for their final act. Their plan all along was to kill Hifumi and get rid of the one person who could betray them. And they did it using an ordinary, everyday hammer from the repository. That should cover everything that happened in this case. And the villain behind it all is... Celeste. Sorry, you lose.
Complete.
Lost? I lost? When was the last time I was forced to utter such words? They hang heavy around my neck.
Then you admit it? You're the killer?
Listen to you, trying to take charge, as if you're my private instructor. I, Celestia Ludenberg. Actually, no. Taiko Yasuhiro is fine.
Keiko?
So, you finally accepted it.
I'm the kind of person, once I've lost, I don't like things to drag on.
Interesting.
Alright. So, with the whole circumstances around the murder and what they were trying to do, goddamn Celeste, with Ultimate Gambler, you leave so many fucking holes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, goddamn, you did not think that shit through.
Or maybe she wanted so many because she wanted, like, the gamble. I don't know.
Now, we'll get to the motive, but I'm just saying, methods-wise, good lord.
Mm-hmm.
Like, honestly, like, this is a common opinion, but yeah, legit, to me, like, weakest case in the game, overall. Like, first time playing through, I was engrossed in it, but when you go back and think about it...
Yeah.
Like, the review I edited for, that guy figured it out, it was Celeste pretty much instantly just because of how out of character she was acting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Also doesn't help that one of the victims was Taka, where he just got absolutely robbed of character growth.
Yeah.
Like, good lord, Taka could have been, like, one of the best characters in the series, and he got fucking robbed.
Yeah.
Okay, Monokuma. I'm ready to begin. Or, no. I suppose this is the end, isn't it?
It is indeed the moment we've all been waiting for. Time to vote. Okay? Okay. If you would, please locate your lever and cast your vote. And when the votes are tallied, who will become the blackened? Will you make the right choice or the dreadfully wrong one? What's it gonna be? What's it gonna be?
But also, just on a note, even in the minigame cases, you've been fucking killing it, Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much the only time we really had a big trip-up was when we accidentally talked over important context.
Yeah.
I am kind of curious how the Switch ports uprise certain things, but I also know how the Switch ports were optimized, and I don't want to deal with that.
Yeah.
Honestly.
I knew it.
Ah, yes, and here we get to some more of the motive shit. Because, like, how the fuck did Hifumi agree?
So then...
Indeed.
Say what?
Just a second. In other words,
Indeed.
I see.
Alright.
Actually,
What?
Are you okay with this?
Mm.
And yeah, you can guess how that went.
Yeah.
So then,
Ah.
Damnation!
So I'm the only one noticing Hifumi just happens to have a magical girl uniform hanging on as well, right?
Mm.
Say what?
as for me,
Oh,
as for me,
what? Damnation! Say what? Completely unforgivable!
most unfortunate.
Hmm?
Actually,
What?
indeed.
And yeah.
Mm.
This is unforgivable! Completely
Poor Hifumi
unforgivable!
was absolutely played.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly,
I swear I will save her!
actually,
Hmm?
So I think part of it might, like, I feel like Celeste might have a bit of a complexity addition with this shit, but I'm not sure. It really was way more complex than it needed to be.
Mm-hmm.
I see.
indeed.
But
Yeah.
Let's see.
Wow.
Are you okay with this?
Yeah, that's a pretty simple play.
Mm-hmm.
So in the end,
What the heck? Well,
don't be mean!
I wonder about that.
Why?
What the heck? Hmm.
But
You little bitch! Hey! You little bitch! This is fine.
Oh, here we go. So, you ready for her overall motive?
Honestly. As for me, isn't it wonderful?
Hmm.
Yep.
She just wanted a reverse harem.
Yep. That's it.
A vampiric reverse harem.
This is fine. There is nothing to be done.
So, overall thoughts on Celeste now?
I mean, she's okay, but she made a gamble that did not pay off at all.
Yeah.
Just the worst.
And, like, As Pat put it, like, for being the ultimate gambler, she is not good at it, apparently. Good lord.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Because, like, especially with how much she lies, it really makes you question how much of her free time stories are true.
Mm-hmm.
what is this? Yes, indeed. Isn't it wonderful?
But she...
Hmm.
Hey,
Yeah.
Thrills, chills, kills! Now then, I've prepared a very special punishment.
Here we go.
Give it everything we've got. It's punishment time!
I guess I'll let Kyoko hold on to this. What? Will it really give you the hope you're looking for? I can't say I ever saw it that way. Which is why... Actually, it's not important. Well then,
It sounds like it's very important.
take care, everyone. Perhaps we'll meet again. In another life.
I will say, execution-wise, this is actually one of my favorites in the game.
In another life or in another reality where we play board games on the beach? Question mark. I don't actually know if you're in that game. Because I don't know anything about those games.
S is straight up an alter timeline. So everyone's there. Like, everyone.
Mm. Wow, she really has been isekai'd. She just got hit by truck-kun.
Yeah, so why I love this execution so much thematically. Like, oh, it starts off with giving her the kind of death she'd probably always kind of want aesthetically and everything. And then gets killed in, like, one of the most common ways possible.
Mm-hmm.
Because Monokuma is a master of the personal fuck you.
Mm-hmm.
Extreme! What are you gonna do?
let me out of here!
Bruh, you're not helping.
Too bad. How strange. Hey! Hey! What?
So then, you...
Hmm?
Ooh!
Hey,
Ooh! How exciting!
Bruh.
Hello. Well,
Okay.
see ya later!
so So...
Hey,
Yep.
Indeed.
Alright.
Hey,
What?
so...
Yep, that
Come on.
tracks.
What? Goodbye.
Alright.
Yo,
Hina,
Hina,
you're
please.
so slow.
Okay.
Bruh.
Shall we go? So then...
Alright. Oh, nice.
However... What? Indeed. What? It's true. That's fine.
And of course, we don't get to learn it quite yet. Well, okay, sort of.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
Here we go. Forget how long this epilogue bit is.
Yeah.
We're almost done though. Ta-da!
Correct.
Secret tunnel!
Hmm.
Alright. A bunch of files.
Yearbooks.
Oh boy.
What don't I know?
Fuck. God damn it. You get trusted with one thing, Makoto.
Mm-hmm.
could be in the gym.
Why, you? What do you think you're doing? I asked you a question. What's the meaning of this? How dare you defy me? This wasn't part of the deal!
Yeah, so remember your little theory earlier?
Mm-hmm.
I've made a decision. I will
Apparently
no
it was
longer
Sakura.
retreat, no longer compromise, no longer regret. I've made my decision. I'm going to resist you.
Okay, but you do realize what will happen if you go through with this, right? You haven't forgotten, have you? What I'm holding hostage?
Yeah. Why that a thing?
Yeah.
Only 7 people left. But yeah. Anyway, that was chapter 3. So, with all that said, this has been the Trap Force of Doom.
And Drake Razorfang.
Peace out.